In this old house, where do you install an outlet when there is no wall?
And by using the steel beam, we made the kitchen floor level, and we eliminated one of the columns in the basement.
And how do you frame for a skylight? Today, our apprentice gets a lesson.
What happens to all this plumbing here?
I've never seen anything like this before.
There's already rot going on in that trunk.
So what have you found up here?
Well, a bit of a surprise.
It's really the classic plumber's lament.
Nice.
See this main roof? We're just going to pull that forward so it's even where this existing deck is.
Definitely says mid-century modern.
Money to the detail.
That is beautiful. And welcome back to this old house here in Brookline, Massachusetts, where our mid-century modern house is getting a 21st century makeover. Now, we are roughly doubling the size of this small house with two additions. The first is on this side right here. It is going to be a master bedroom up top and then some extra bedrooms down below. The kitchen for the house, well, it stays pretty much where it was in the main part of the house, just on the other side of that wall right there. And then the second addition is wrapped around on this side. Now, down below, there will be a garage, and up top, there's going to be some new living space. You may recall that last week, our homeowners asked us to turn the basement into better living space. There were very low ceilings. So to do that, the first thing we did was lower the concrete floor, and the second thing we're doing is raising the ceiling, and it looks like we have got a beam that's in play, Tommy. Good morning, guys.
Morning, Kevin. Yeah, this is a W625 I-beam.
Now, see, now you're just talking jargon there, Pops. What does that mean?
Well, it means that it's a 6-inch wide beam.
Okay, W6.
W6, it has a web, and it's 6 inches high. And the inside the I-beam, you have to pad that. But this beam weighs 25 pounds per foot.
And how many feet is it?
This is 22, plus the weight of the wood.
Which is roughly?
Roughly 660 pounds.
660 pounds. So that gives us sort of, the span and the load that it can carry.
Right. And we're going to eliminate one of the lally columns.
Right.
So we need that extra power to take the span of the floor so you don't get a deflection.
And Charlie, you prepped it for us already. I'm noticing that we've got the wood stock on either side.
Yeah, we had the I-beam pre-drilled for our carriage bolts.
These guys here.
We put double 2x6 on each side.
Yeah.
And then our new floor framing will hang off of the new framing.
Oh, look at this place, Charlie. I was not expecting this whole first floor gone. The living room was up here. I thought you were going to
recess the new steel beam up in place. But the whole floor was off about 1.5 inches.
Yeah.
Which meant we would have had to shim each one individually to make it level because this is the kitchen. And in doing that, we just felt it was faster, cheaper, and stronger to reframe it.
I get it. It's a Silva thing. It's genetic, right? So, Tommy, what's the approach here?
All right, the first thing we need to do is establish the height for our new beam. We set up a laser up there to measure down to the top of the floor joist. Mm-hmm. And we put a mark up there. We took the height of the beam, and we transferred that down, and we set this 2x6 underside of the new I-beam. Now, on the other end, we have a pocket up there. So we've taken the laser, and we're going to run a line right across, and that will give us the height of that shot lally column that we need on the other end. To cut this, we're going to use a pipe cutter, and when we get a certain depth, it'll actually fall off. And there it is. Keep coming. Looking good. Keep coming. Oh, hold it. All right, you're there. One of the first apprentices on our Generation X program was Nathan Gilbert. He was also the most experienced. He's working on a job site right near ours in Brookline on a carpentry project. Hey, Nathan, what's going on here?
Hey, Tommy, how you doing?
Good.
Well, the homeowner wants to tighten a few things up around the house, so we're going to start with this lower railing right here. Mm-hmm. As you can see, extensive damage to the lower part, and even the lower ballast has some punk to it.
Yeah, this looks like maybe some preparation work wasn't done correctly. We know whenever you make a cut in wood, you also want to make sure that everything is back primed, under primed, caulked, and sealed, because water is the enemy.
I brought some really good filler with me, some primer, and I got some railing stock that we can swap it out with.
Okay, want me to give you a hand?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so that should work good.
That looks good.
All right, put a primer on.
All right.
Okay, so what have you been up to since you left us at the Newton project?
I've been pretty busy doing a lot of my own work, doing some cabinet installs for the same company that did the ones over in Arlington.
Oh, great, great.
Really nice stuff.
Been working with your dad at all?
Yep, the cabinet stuff's all with my dad.
Yeah, that's good.
Keeps it light.
Yeah, learn a lot of tips, too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so this is coming pretty good. These top ones definitely are solid.
Yeah.
You can see some rots are happening right here. Oh yeah. So you can really see how some of these are. This one up, the first one here, which was close to the house, there's no rot at all, no water damage. This one's sucking up some water right here, and over time it's going to fail. Mm-hmm. This one is definitely punky and gone.
Yep.
This one's not bad, but it's on its way.
This one's starting to get punky right here.
Yep. Yeah.
This one's gone.
That's definitely gone.
This one's just a little bit wet at the bottom.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you want to do to repair these?
This one's worse than I thought it was, so now I think I'm actually going to cut it off right here and make a new one and screw it back in.
Make a new base completely?
Exactly.
Okay, what kind of material you want to make that out of?
Probably pressure-treated material.
Well, I would say pressure-treated would be your safest bet here. You can paint it up and ease off the corners and blend it right in. You'll never know.
This one I think I can just repair.
Yeah, you can repair it. It's almost like if you're going to make some bottoms or bases, I would just probably make 2 or 3 bases.
Okay. And
repair them, cut them off. But in the long run, I think it'd be fine. It'd be easier.
All right, I'll do that.
Okay. You ready to prime it?
Yeah, let's put a coat on it.
Okay.
A flat roof is the hallmark of a mid-century modern home, and our original house had one, and the 2 additions that we're putting on will have one as well. And Tommy, I'm saying a flat roof, they're not exactly flat.
No, in this case, we have what is called about a 3.5-inch pitch. That means every 12 inches are going up 3, 24 inches going up 7, and so on down the line.
But they are flat enough that we have to treat them differently because we're worried about water getting into them, so we're not going to just put regular shingles on them.
Yeah, a flat-looking roof still has to have a slope to it for the water to run.
Right.
Whether it looks like it's flat or level this way, maybe there's drains in the middle of the roof. This case is a pitch, so it's going to run off to the edge.
All right, so we've got ourselves a up with some trim here, some sheething right here. How are we going to waterproof this?
Well, first of all, this is the rubber that we're going to put on the roof.
So rubber roof is the answer there?
Rubber roof, and totally cover the roof like this. All right? Now, when you have a rubber roof on a stormy night, let's say a branch blows off a tree and that branch comes around and hits this rubber roof, because the surface is so high underneath, it can actually cut it.
Okay, so too hard, what do we use instead?
So what we have to do is we have to prep the roof for the rubber roof. First, we have these nailers, these wooden nailers that are going to run around the perimeter of the roof.
What do you got there, 1/2 inch?
This is 1/2 inch. You can also use 3/8 because you want something a little bit thinner in some cases. All right? And then in the center of that, we're going to use this, we call it iso board. Mm-hmm. And that's short for a polyisocyanurate board.
So this is a little bit of insulation?
Yep. This is a little bit of insulation. This is a 1/2 inch, so you're going to have a little bit, about maybe 3.2. You can get this this in different thicknesses.
And it's, I mean, it's definitely not as hard as the sheeting. There's a little bit of give. I can just barely dimple that with my fingernail.
There is a little bit of give, and that's what you want. So you have a continuous strip of insulation that runs over the roof, which is always good.
Yeah.
And this gets fastened with screws and washers.
So we've got a big button on top of the screw right
and
there.
So you'd screw this down through the ISO into the substrate. And then you'd put like 2, and then 16 inches you'd do 3, and then 2, and then 3, all the way across. Now that totally puts this down.
Yeah.
Okay? When you're going to take the rubber, once you get ready to install that, this rubber is going to get fastened to that substrate and to the edge. It's also, you have to let it overhang the edge, and it's got to run down like that. If it doesn't run down like that and you were to cut it off straight, although that might look nicer.
It does look nice right there.
On a windy night, when the wind is blowing and it's raining, you get what is called a negative pressure on the roof, and it's called uplift or flutter. The roof will flutter like that. And the adhesive underneath would stretch enough so that this water, the surface tension of the wind, would drive the water right underneath this roof.
And so that means we're going to actually run this down the side and adhere it to the side?
That stops it from happening, and we'd fold it and do it here. Now to hide that edge, they have a metal bar that you can screw and glue on here. In this case, we're going to use a metal drip edge like this.
Yeah.
And that's going to go on, and that's going to hide that edge. And I like to put it on, not tight, pull it off just a little bit, create a little more space for that water that runs off. You don't want that edge hitting here, causing it to suck onto the fascia board. All right? Now, one more thing that we're going to have to do is we're actually going to take this piece of flashing right here. This is actually called uncured rubber. And we're going to fasten this not only to the rubber itself, but to the metal flash, this joint here, so no water will get under it.
Perfect. All right, well, let's go upstairs.
All right. All right, so they've got most of this section of the roof already glued down. They've glued down about 3/4 of this last piece. They're just rolling the seams, cleaning it up.
Yep.
Next thing they got to do is they're actually going to start to peel that back, the section that's not glued. Now they're going to start installing the contact cement first on the ISO board, and then on the underside of the rubber. All right, it's been a few minutes since they applied the glue, so it doesn't stick to you, right? The glue is going to stick to the glue, all right? So it has to go dry on dry. You ready to roll it, Bob? All right. Now they're going to work it in. They're going to fluff it up and put it in. Okay, push it right in. They only have one shot at this. It's going to go down and flop right over the outside edge. So we still have to put the rest of the soffit and the fascia board around, but they're just going to lay this piece on, show you how it's going to look. And that's going to get nailed in place, and then they're going to cover it with the tape and caulk the joint.
Nice.
And that's all there is to it.
It's awesome. Our homeowner wants a sleek, modern kitchen, and that means a big open floor plan as well as a wall of glass right there. Hey, Sunil. Hey, Naheed.
Hey, Kevin. Hey, Kevin.
So first time that we see the kitchen starting to come together, you get a feel for how the layout goes. Give us a little tour.
Sure. So you see this wall of windows here. So this is going to be the countertop here. This is the longest countertop in the house. Here's going to be our stove. So this is our cooktop, and this is our induction cooktop here.
Gas, electric.
Exactly, yeah. This will be gas, this will be induction. And here's going to be this sink. Followed by actually, there's going to be some cabinets here. They're not going to be full height, approximately this height here. So it still feels like an open area. If you're up there in the loft, you can still see the kitchen. There's going to be a short wall of cabinets here with an appliance garage here. Appliances can actually stay plugged in as we use them.
Storage and tuck them away out of sight if you need to.
Exactly, and this blueprint shows where the island is going to go. There's going to be seating on that side, so it's otherwise just a flat surface, but it'll be used for breakfast and
No sink, no stove, fire in that.
Nothing in there.
Gotcha.
And as you move this way, this blue line here kind of marks where our wall of appliances is going to go. So here's a refrigerator. Here there's going to be ovens. top and below, and there's going to be a freezer unit here. So this is where all the way to the window, and the window has to stay. So there's going to be some open shelving here, just above the counter.
So I've seen the cabinets. They're very sort of modern looking. This is a very sleek profile. You love it, but of course, Heath, this causes you all sorts of problems. There are no walls here for switches. Because this is all glass, we can't put our outlets right here, but we have to put them somewhere.
So it is a beautiful end result when all's said and done, but we do address a few things such as receptacle and switch location.
Yeah.
So the code we have to follow in the kitchen is within 2 feet of any countertop broken, such as a cooktop or a sink.
Yeah.
No more than 4 feet apart after that point.
Yeah.
And then if there's a space that's greater than 12 inches, we have to have one receptacle in there as well.
So a space like this right here between the induction and the sink, greater than 12 inches, so you have to have a receptacle there, at least one over there, and at least another one over here.
Correct.
And we, of course, can't go into the wall because this is glass.
Because we have glass.
So you brought us some options.
A couple of samples.
This is the idea of putting them into the countertop. And Sunil, this one here is square, sort of stainless steel. You push the button, up comes the receptacle. So that's in use, and then of course you can hide it. And you said this is spec for countertop. So
that is made for a kitchen application. It is gasketed on both sides.
Got it. All right. And then this one over here, that's pretty cool looking. The round one. How does this one work, Heath?
So this one you just push on the top and pull it.
Look at that. Okay, so there's your receptacle right there. A little bulkier when it's in operation, but of course it's going to be concealed when it's not. So what do you think of those options, Sunil?
I mean, if those are the options we were to pick from, then sure. I don't really like having, I mean, personally wouldn't want anything on the surface, but code is code and we've got to abide by it.
Right.
I'm still asking, the builders and the designers to see if we can make way for somehow reducing the number or the profile of these, receptacles. Maybe if there's a way to take a piece out of this wall between the windows and put them there. But if not, then we'll pick one of these.
All right. Well, at least you're open-minded. We also have to deal with switching. I presume we've got a bunch of recessed lights. Do we have pendants over the island?
We're thinking of putting something linear or maybe a couple of pendants right in the middle of the island.
So we'll have to switch those. You'll have to help us think through that. And we also need power in the island as well.
Correct. So we do have to think about switching for the lighting. And we have a few options for that. We can always put a switch on the end of the island, but it may interfere with your cabinet style. We can put them on either of the return walls as you come into the kitchen. As you walk in, you still have a path to turn the lighting on. Mm-hmm. And we can also extend this wall a little bit where this cabinet is and give us a spot for a switch or two.
But in terms of power for the island, there's rules to that as well?
There is. So we have to get a receptacle on here. In this case, it has to go on one of the two sides or on this front. It can't go on the back and can't be under the overhang.
There's drawers on that side, there's drawers on this side. So I think it's going to have to be on the other side where the counter kind of water falls down.
Well, if you guys will sort of work through it all, you've got Codemaster here. He knows where they can and can't go. You guys make some decisions, and we'll be on our way.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, guys.
40 years ago, I was a carpenter in my 20s, and I was asked to come on to this crazy idea for a television show. The TV station was going to buy a rundown house and then document the restoration. One of my first jobs there was to install a skylight. Now, 40 years later, that show is still on the air, and now I'm teaching the next generation of carpenters how to put in a skylight. Hi, Charlie. Hi, Carly.
Hey, Norm.
So, have you ever done anything like this before?
I've actually never installed a skylight, but I'm really excited to learn.
All right, well, we're going to teach you. Now, it's a fixed skylight, right, Charlie?
It is. It's 22 by 46, and it's going to run parallel with the outside wall.
Right, so we've done some layout. So here's the center line of the skylight, and it's going to go out to this end and this end, which means we're going to have to cut some of these out in the middle. But before we do that, we want to put the rafters on the ends. So we're going to double up some 2x10s, and they're going to sit on top of the exterior wall and on the bearing wall in the middle. So we'll get started.
Perfect.
Charlie, the reason we had you bevel that top edge is that in order to flip this rafter in place up against the bottom of the roofing boards, you need to have that bevel. If it was square, it would be almost impossible to have it flip through.
Gotcha.
So that gets up there nice and plumb. So for now, we're going to slide it over to the edge, bring in the next one. Now, before we put the second one in, we want to put a bead of construction adhesive along this top edge.
Okay.
And that will bond rafter to the sheathing that's on the roof. All right, now we'll do the same thing on the other end.
Okay. Oh, why is it doing that?
So Carly, now we want to cut the rafters in between. Now that they're cut, let's knock them out. So now Charlie's starting to work on the piece that's going to connect the two doubles. And on the outer edge, we on now.
Okay.
I put that in, and then we'll fasten it around it. That way we know it fits.
Okay.
Okay, push that in tight. Okay, Kelly, bring that in. Hold it in tight the same way as before.
Just put it up against those and get it started on your end. Okay, we're going to try to go up even.
Okay.
All right, I think we're there.
No more? Hold on, let me do this side. Kelly, put yours up. Hit it again. Hold it.
Okay, so now we can double up this one. Alright, so now the last thing to do is put hangers on this side. Alright, Carly, now here we have the opening for the new skylight. If it wasn't going to rain today, we'd cut open the roof, but it's going to pour, so we'll leave that go. When we do cut it out, we'll put up a curb, which will raise the skylight above the roof. The roofers will flash it, and it'll never leak. So what's going to happen next time, Charlie?
Tommy's installing subflooring.
All right, so until next time, I'm Norm Abram
I'm Carly Camatino.
I'm Charlie Silva.
for This Old House.
Next time on This Old House.
We'll show you how to install a skylight designed never to leak.
It started as a simple hole to replace the sewer line and ended up an exercise in subterranean archaeology. And it ends up we're going to have to dig all the way across the street to replace storm, sewer, and water.
And we check out options for paving stones. It's not clean enough for us, I think. It's not that modern look that you're going for.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
For more This Old House, go to pbs.org/thisoldhouse, where you can watch full episodes anytime. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This Old House magazine, the companion to our television series, provides trusted information from our team of experts. You can use your credit card to subscribe for 1 year. That's 6 issues for $10. Just call 1-800-221-5900.